Imagine living like an absolute monarch in the heart of London, completely rent-free while the rest of the world foots the bill. For years, Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie inhabited a flawless, ultra-luxury paradise, hidden safely behind palace walls. But an unprecedented, quiet investigation into their private arrangements has just shattered that perfect illusion. A massive flaw inside the Crown estate was just exposed, and it turns out the luxurious roof over their heads might be the very thing that brings their entire world crashing down. What investigators are hinting at inside those historic walls has sent absolute shockwaves through the monarchy, triggering a silent war the family desperately wanted to keep hidden. The walls are officially closing in, and by the end of this video, you will see the exact moment the ultimate illusion of royal protection completely shattered. If you want to stay ahead of the secrets the palace is trying to bury, make sure to join our community by hitting that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't want to miss a single second of how this royal reckoning unfolds. Behind closed doors, the flawless image of the jet-setting York sisters was always a ticking time bomb. To the outside world, Beatrice and Eugenie were the perfect modern aristocrats, balancing ordinary corporate careers with a life of staggering luxury. One worked in the fast-paced tech sector, while the other managed a high-end global art gallery. On paper, they earned modest corporate salaries, the kind that forces normal professionals to carefully budget for a single annual holiday. Yet, their reality told a completely different story. Insiders say that in a single 12-month window, Beatrice managed to jet off on 16 separate luxury vacations. We are talking 5-star tropical escapes, elite ski chalets, and private Mediterranean yachts. The math simply didn't add up, and people inside the palace walls began to whisper. How could two non-working royals with basic day jobs sustain a relentless cycle of high-end living without touching public funds? For a long time, the palace managed to keep a tight lid on the growing speculation. But the illusion of self-made wealth was built on quicksand, and public curiosity quickly turned into deep frustration. It became impossible to ignore the massive disconnect between their corporate paychecks and their elite lifestyles. The whispers grew into a loud demand for answers, and just when the pressure reached a boiling point, an outside force decided to look into the one place the sisters felt safest. Investigators quietly turned their attention toward the ultra-exclusive properties the sisters hold in the absolute heart of London. It turns out the magnificent roofs over their heads were hiding a secret that would shock the entire nation. Because what authorities were about to uncover inside those historic walls didn't just threaten their lifestyle. It was about to trigger an unprecedented housing scandal that would shake the very foundations of the monarchy itself. A highly complex arrangement regarding premium real estate has quietly placed Beatrice and Eugenie directly under the microscope of public scrutiny. For years, the sisters have retained access to ultra-luxury apartments in the most prestigious, historic corners of London, specifically a 4-floor apartment inside St. James's Palace and Ivy Cottage, a 3-bedroom property on the grounds of Kensington Palace. To the public, these iconic addresses represent the absolute pinnacle of historic wealth. However, a series of unsealed details regarding how these tenancies were originally secured has triggered intense debate over the transparency of royal property contracts. According to reports from The Times, these highly coveted spaces were not assigned through traditional channels. Instead, sources indicate that a private agreement was originally established by their father, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, who explicitly sought to maintain a permanent foothold for his daughters within the royal palaces. While the public initially believed these arrangements were standard, investigators have since turned their attention to the exact financial terms of the leases. Rumors suggest that the rent historically paid for these multi-million-pound properties fell vastly below standard market rates, with past estimates pointing to around £1,600 a month for a prime 4-story London flat, while comparable local properties easily command upwards of £100,000 per year. This vast discrepancy has brought the concept of subsidized royal housing into sharp focus, raising critical questions about institutional privilege. Critics point out that because neither sister serves as a full-time working representative of the Crown, they are technically private citizens who earn their own corporate incomes. Therefore, holding on to elite public assets on highly favorable terms, while ordinary citizens face an intensely competitive housing market, has fueled widespread debate. The situation becomes even more complicated when looking at their actual daily lives. Reports suggest that Beatrice primarily resides with her family in a stunning countryside home in Oxfordshire, while Eugenie frequently splits her time between the UK and a luxury resort in Portugal. Because these historic palace apartments essentially serve as secondary townhouses rather than primary residences, pressure has mounted from legislative oversight bodies. Parliament's Public Accounts Committee has initiated a comprehensive review into Crown estate arrangements to map out every undisclosed rental agreement tied to minor royals. While palace officials state that rental income is quietly funneled back into the sovereign grant to fund official duties, the looming inquiry promises to demand total transparency regarding these hidden subsidies. Yet, a potential restructure of their housing perks is only the beginning of their worries. As the audit into their real estate holdings deepens, a far more challenging financial shadow from their family's past is about to resurface. And this time, a newly uncovered paper trail leads straight to their private bank accounts. The absolute core of their multi-millionaire illusion has officially cracked, and it involves a secret paper trail leading straight to the sisters' private bank accounts. For years, Beatrice and Eugenie worked tirelessly to distance themselves from their parents' highly publicized downfalls and toxic associations. They kept their heads down, focused on their independent corporate careers, and hoped the world would look away from the family shadows. But the recent unsealing of highly sensitive financial records has completely shattered that hope. Hidden deep within a series of leaked emails is a specific transaction layout that changes everything, directly threatening to link the daughters to a disgraced billionaire's fortune. According to reports, the explosive messages date back to a period when their father, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, was serving as a special international trade envoy. The documents appear to outline a complex behind-the-scenes negotiation involving a massive total sum of £300,000 from a wealthy tycoon friend. But it didn't stop with the parents. The truly unsettling detail uncovered in the paperwork suggests that a substantial cut of £50,000 was specifically earmarked to go directly to each of the daughters. While being named in these historical files does not prove any personal wrongdoing or imply they even knew about the talks, the public fallout has been absolutely devastating. This revelation completely reframes the ongoing debate over how the sisters sustained a relentless cycle of five-star vacations and high-end living on basic corporate salaries. For the first time, a potential answer has been laid bare in black and white, sparking intense questions from lawmakers about whether these funds were ever actually distributed. The princesses have reportedly stated they have absolutely no recollection of any such payments, but the damage to their carefully cultivated image of financial independence is already done. Every corporate deal, every luxury asset, and every private venture they touch is suddenly being viewed through a lens of extreme skepticism. In fact, investigators have already begun digging into their wider network, and their focus has just landed on a personal organization that was supposed to be completely flawless. The absolute last shield protecting the sisters' public image has officially cracked, and it involves a place where no one expected to find trouble. For years, Eugenie's highly praised personal charity, an organization dedicated to fighting global exploitation and modern slavery, was seen as their ultimate saving grace. It served as undeniable proof that the sisters were using their immense privilege and high society networks to genuinely change the world. But a sudden, highly classified assessment into the charity's internal finances has exposed deep inconsistencies, sparking a massive wave of panic behind closed doors. According to reports, government watchdogs have officially opened a regulatory compliance case into the foundation after serious questions emerged regarding its actual spending habits. The core of the regulatory review centers on a highly sensitive issue: how the organization manages its substantial public donations. Financial files indicate that investigators began raising alarms over the staggering ratio between administrative spending and the actual funds making it to the front lines. It is claimed that the organization spent double the amount on staff salaries and operational overhead compared to what was actually distributed to charitable programs. In the world of elite philanthropy, a sudden government look into financial management is the ultimate nightmare. It threatens to completely dissolve public trust, turning a symbol of goodwill into a massive liability. For the family, the stakes couldn't possibly be higher. Rumors suggest that palace officials are deeply terrified that this regulatory digging could accidentally unearth a completely different web of high society donations, exposing connections the monarchy once kept entirely out of the spotlight. This sudden scrutiny has completely dismantled the narrative that the sisters keep their charitable endeavors and their commercial worlds entirely separate. With their private real estate arrangements and family histories already facing intense skepticism, this non-profit controversy feels like the final domino to fall. The walls are closing in from all sides. Legislative property probes, unsealed financial files, and now regulatory pressure on their personal ventures. The public is demanding total transparency, and the monarchy is reaching a dangerous tipping point that leads straight to a final, brutal choice. The golden key that once granted absolute immunity inside the royal family has officially been stripped away, and the final decision on their future now rests in the hands of a relentless new regime. For generations, an elite bloodline served as an absolute shield against public rage, financial collapse, and institutional ruin. But the era of unchecked protection is officially over. King Charles and Prince William are rapidly reshaping the entire institution from the ground up, leaving those on the outer edges of the family completely exposed to the harsh elements of a shrinking, modernized monarchy. While the king reportedly wishes to minimize further public fallout out of respect for family history, insiders suggest that the future monarch is taking a far more uncompromising approach to the situation. The ultimate reckoning for the family comes down to a simple, unyielding reality check. You cannot demand the ultimate, highly coveted perks of a royal lifestyle while completely avoiding the transparency and public accountability that must come with it. The days of symbolic rental arrangements, unchecked private commercial ventures, and taxpayer-subsidized security assets are rapidly drawing to a close as the institution pivots toward an entirely new survival strategy. This high-stakes internal friction is no longer just a quiet family dispute behind closed doors. It has evolved into a high-velocity battle for the very reputation and survival of the modern crown. As external investigations prepare to dissect property contracts and regulatory pressure mounts on personal non-profit ventures, a definitive boundary line has been drawn in the sand. Those who occupy elite spaces must either step fully into the light of absolute modern transparency or face a highly publicized transition that could permanently alter their place in the social landscape. The curtain is finally coming down on an era of unquestioned privilege, leaving the world to watch exactly who will adapt and who will be left behind when the dust settles on this historic royal transition.